though begging mercy that I have not been able to connect you. But yeah, I always get news from you. Yeah, thank you so much, devotees. I mean, what Prabhu is very generous, as all of us know. Yeah, so I consider myself very junior to Prabhu. So without going into details, let's start with the offering of the prayers. Om Agyanam Timrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So our dear Rajesh Prabhu asked me, Prabhuji, can you give me a talk? So I was like, from last 2 weeks I was meditating onto it. What should I'll be talking. I mean, we are on the path of this improving our chanting actually, right? And since from our initial days of our chanting, I clearly remember that the amount of rasa what Krishna gives, and now what we seek for is always more and more. There's always a Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, and initially Krishna gives it uh, for free of cost when we are joining the bhakti movement. I won't say free of cost. There is a little endeavor, but Krishna gives it more. But now, when we are chanting, Krishna demands some seriousness over here. So while thinking upon it, I mean, what comes to my mind was like, okay, our uh, dear Sachinanda, I mean, Prabhu, and there's a lot of, I mean, we have actually this book I refer to, Sachinanda Swami Maharaj book. Probably I would really highly recommend. Okay, can you see my video?
Yes,
I
Prabhu,
see.
we can.
Okay, something got stuck actually. Okay,
We can
yeah,
see this book also, The Living
yeah,
Name.
this the living name. I mean, since you're all associated with Sri Gaur Prabhu, Prabhu have taken you to the Harinam retreat being held by Sachinanda Swami Maharaj. It's highly recommended. So that was the first thing that comes to my mind, where I can speak from and what I can actually, borrow from Maharaj teachings, and which I'm trying to, learn and see where I can gather from Maharaj sincere teachings over there actually. So I'll share a few things from that book only, and it's a highly recommended book. We should have it, and it's actually a kind of a guiding light how we can make a sincere and meaningful progress. And actually, it's all about check and balances. I mean, I might be talking a lot about check and balances whenever we're saying, but whatever we do, we should have some check and balance, or in a more meaningful way, there should be in whatever we time we are putting, because the time is the most precious thing we have it. How we can make the best use of it actually. So especially so going back onto it, I mean, what Maharaj talks about it nowadays, I mean, there's a lot of need, and especially, that how we can improve our chanting actually. And this is one of an example that we are coming as a group over here on Sunday mornings in a in the morning hours, where um, we are in the mode of somewhat of higher modes, where we can absorb the knowledge little more over there. So how we can actually make it more our chanting to be more to be experiential based rather than mechanical actually. So, and that's where, that's where, that's a motivation actually, where we are, uh, where we go on to the different facets of our, of our devotion life. I mean, whether it could be attending the retreats, and of the saints, and of the truly religious souls, to be in a association, so that we can learn, to going on yatras, so that we can have a much more detail. So what it entails to is that we are, everyone is looking for the real and tangible ways for a transformational experience, and and then that basically is looking out for the new levels of the spiritual experience. So that's what we are we are trying to do, over here. So so the next is like, we as a, I go back onto the check and balance part of it. As always, we know, true inside our heart, that where we are actually in our spiritual life and where we really want to be. So there is a gap in such, in terms of our aspiration and our current state. And and it's very important to understand that there is a gap. If we see, okay, if there's no gap, everything is hunky dory. Yeah, I'm chanting my 16 rounds. I'm I'm going to temple once in a week. I'm doing some services over there, and I am I'm listening. I'm trying to accompany. I'm following my mentors. But if you're not doing a check and balance, whether I'm getting a taste, how good is my chanting, uh, then it may be like we may not be doing justice actually to ourselves. So it's very important that we should have a check and balance. We should have a self introspection, where we are, how much the chanting is actually, um, is it becoming a mechanical rather than I mean experiential. Like where you really experience it over there, or rather than becoming a duty actually. So that check and balances should always be there. And this group, to attend this Japa Talk, or to go on to retreats, it helps you to, that there's something needs to be done to improve upon it, or to constantly make progress onto it. Because there's nothing black and white. It's always a gray situation actually. So we, at different stages of life, we'll be on a different stage of the chanting, and we have to constantly improve onto it. So from the book, I took like, about check and balance is like, Sachidanand Swami Maharaj quotes from his one of his experiences. So when Prabhupada in 90, was visiting Germany, in and Sachidanand Maharaj quotes, Arjuna is been called as a Gudakesha. So Gudakesha, we all of us know, is one who has conquered the sleep. So Sajjan Maharaj was like very much intrigued by Gudakesha. So it's like, uh, who never sleeps actually. So now he wanted to see like what's happening in the case of Prabhupada. So I mean that what's happening in the case of the Prabhupada. So what he did over there, so he sneaked in from the back door, and there was a slit in the window opening in Prabhupada's room when Prabhupada was sleeping. So he was observing. So what Maharaj actually saw, that Prabhupada lips was moving actually. So he was, and Maharaj writes in this book, he was totally actually, uh, he was totally, surprised that I won't say surprised, but he had a very, what do you say, happy feeling, in sense that that Prabhupada is actually a Godakesha. Even while sleeping, Prabhupada's lips were moving, and even there are a lot of videos. While we see, in the when Prabhupada is the final state, on the final time in this planet, Prabhupada is actually chanting, and that's what is happening. And so, but being Prabhupada, so being observed, and being a divine nature. So after some time, Prabhupada just opened one his eyes, and Maharaj said, okay, then it was an indication to him, okay, his time is up now. He should let Prabhupada being let's give some privacy onto it. So so that's where things comes is, I mean, that when we are chanting, it's like we are connecting with the Lord, and connecting with the Lord in sense, and as we know, the energy of the Krishna, they are supreme. I mean, and I mean, and then of that energy, the most one of the most power is the kripa energy, and that is that Krishna gives kripa to all, and we ourselves are the prime examples actually. I mean, if we evaluate what's our qualification, how we actually are in this current situation where we are actually able to associate with the pure souls, where we are able to chant, and where we are able to actually spend some time. I would say spend, I mean, at least I can say it for myself, and not, I mean, still have some attachments to the outside world, to the things. So what was our qualification? I mean, it would be very hard to actually find out, okay, what qualification. I mean, we might be carrying a lot of material qualification, masters and all that, PhD, big jobs and all, but that's may not be really, I mean, bringing you the forward to the path of bhakti. So until unless we get an association from a Vaishnava, and there comes the Shraddha part of it actually. So, where the Kripa energy, coming back onto the Kripa energy part of the Lord, that Lord is so merciful and He gives the Kripa, and that's what He says in Bhagavad Gita: Sarvdharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tvam sarvabhebhyo mokshashami ma shucha. So, do not fear. Why say after the do not fear? That's like the lasting impression onto it. Either as a living being, we start focus on to the first and the last part of it. I mean, so Lord is saying in the end, do not fear. So, and that's where the kripa is coming from, and that's the do not fear part we can experience as we start chanting. The first thing uh, that we see is is the kalesha agni in our life actually goes down. The problems may still remain, but actually the kalesha agni is slowly start receding, and that's what's been, I mean, observed. I mean, that's what been written by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakta Rasamrita Sindhu also over there. So, also coming back on to the spiritual name part of it. So, our Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who's been called as Seventh Goswami, so he talks about uh, there are there are two spiritual energies that exist. So, one is we as a living entity, and the second is the holy name itself. And when we are chanting, so these two energies are actually meeting, and when the spiritual energies are meeting, uh, then that it's basically this chanting is bringing together that spiritual energies, and that brings a transformation in our heart, and that's what we ourselves have experienced, that when these two energies are meeting, the six anarthas that are present in all of us starts subsiding, and the six anarthas we know: lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, anger, and illusion. So illusion from where we are and what we are actually. So uh, also also we sometimes talk about meditation, and uh, so japa is in the ordinarily, I mean, counted as one of the practice of the dhyana meditation, and that's why we call it japa meditation. But Krishna talks in Bhagavad Gita of all the spiritual practices, of all the tapasyas, japo asmi. That it's a spiritual, it's a most supreme form of practicing the meditation, and especially in this age of Kali Yuga, we all know. I mean, there's hardly anything available in terms of the other practice of meditation, where I mean there's no forest and all that. So Krishna, I mean Lord is actually uh, is is focusing that of all the forms of meditation, that japa is the supreme. And when we are chanting, so it just we are surrendering onto the Lord. So also, so we talked about few points. It's about one is till this thing. I mean, I'm just capturing onto the main point is about the kripa energy. The second thing is which I would like to bring on is from the quote from Srila Prabhupada, which I'm reading from the book over here. Uh, Prabhupada talks about uh, in this one, for persons who are not inclined to clean the dust from their hearts and who want to keep things as they are, it is not possible to derive the transcendental results of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One should therefore be encouraged to develop his service attitude towards the Lord, because that will help him to chant without any offense. So the last word what Prabhupada is uses to develop service attitude towards the Lord, which will help to chant, is without offense. So that comes on to the part offenseless chanting. And without offense, that is offenseless chanting and offense also in general. So what is been how to we know, I mean, the different offenses, I mean Vaishnava Parad, but they are like a big stuff. I mean, but in our day-to-day things, uh, we make smaller offenses. And I've heard from the seniors that the three offenses, I mean, which I often, I mean, talk about is that we should avoid is the three C's. So the three C's we should be avoiding is one is uh, criticizing, second is comparing, and third one is complaining. So they are, I mean, as such, I mean, we are very small in sense that on our own to make progress, it's really hard. That okay, we are chanting 16 rounds, we are following the regulative principles, and we are doing some service. On the basis of it, just that a small thing to make progress is very hard. But whatever small progress we do, if you are not avoiding the offense, the progress gets what you say I won't say nullified, but it inhibits actually. So if you are doing the complaining, comparison, and criticizing, whether it's about devotee, non-devotee, or anything, so it affects our subconscious mind and it permeates our consciousness. and and so that is impurity actually. So when we are onto these impurities, it's very hard to get a taste of the holy name actually onto the tongue. And the the chanting effects may decrease substantially, and our progress also may not be happening that much which we aspire for. So we should be guarding against ourselves. I mean, and that could be happening in a very general way, in a sense that uh, we may have some kind of a normal talk, and these three things may actually may what do you say creep in some ways or the other, in a very subtle way. I mean, the examples could be, okay, the prasadam might be okay, that devotee had we had a very nice prasadam over there, or uh, or or could be in so many ways. Probably we have to what do you say, do some kind of a self introspection where it could be happening, how we are indulging in complaining, could be at home or could be at office or could be at our in our day to day circumstances. So these are all like small tests actually for us. And if you're not able to overcome these small tests, I mean, to get a taste of the holy name might become a little challenging actually. And And when we are coming in association with the people who are very strongly guarded against these three principles in general in their life, I mean, which is like very realized souls, and we come across with the Maharajas, I mean, who are very much, I mean, into that mood. You'll see, I mean, the progress when we are in their association, because they're reflecting onto that energies, we feel very positive. So uh, so we should be very very cautious that if we can avoid these three C's, because on our own, I mean, it's just by our own efforts we can make a progress, but that all may get nullified. Actually, I won't say nullified, but it may our we are just pouring water onto the fire which we are trying to ignite. So we may see the smoke, but to have the warmth and the light of that fire, we should be guarding against these three C's. And these three, I mean, will as most of know, will start as a nectar. I mean, that's what the world is all about, and that's what the media or entertainment or anything or the conversation that goes in society is all about. It starts it starts with a very nectarian actually. I mean, you go in our family circles, we talk about the things about, it's all about these threes only, right? And then it may act as a poison. I mean, it may not, it will act as a poison actually. It will leave a bad taste. So another incident, I mean, uh, that that I like to quote it from Maharaj's book is that when Srila Prabhupada was in Hamburg, Germany in 1969. So, so one of the attendees in the program, or one of the devotees in the program, asked Srila Prabhupada, how much time does it really take? Can we attain the Krishna consciousness in this lifetime? So, or we have to take millions of lifetime. So Prabhupada uh, uh, quotes over here: it is possible in 1 second, provided you are serious. So, and there's no formula which states that after so and so many years. So we may actually spend so many years, but what about the serious part? So serious, and what does a serious actually entails from? There are two things: sincerity and commitment actually. So sincerity is like, okay, and they go hand in hand in together. If we are committed, the other part will come in actually. So our commitment and our sincerity go hand in hand. We may not have sincerity to begin with initially, but if we are committed, the sincerity will come in. If we are not serious to begin with, but if you are committed to begin with, the seriousness comes in. If you are serious, the commitment will come in. So because uh, Lord fills in the gaps what we have it actually. So we should be serious, and the Lord will fill in with the other actually. So if we are committed, we may not be serious, but committed toward the services, committed towards the cause, committed towards the chanting, the seriousness will come in actually. And if you're guarding against the three C's, definitely. I mean, you'll see. I mean, and that's we see. I mean, in lot of pastimes in Chaitanya Charitamrita or in Bhagavatam, there are so many instances. Maharaj Ambarish, or there's so many countless. I mean, it's filled in. I mean, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita, we hear there's so many filled in with where the devotees are avoiding these three C's, and they have been getting favored from the Lord. So, if we can avoid these three C's, definitely our progress will be much better, uh, and that's so how to get into that another point. So we talked about two things: the kripa energy, we talked about the three C's, and the last point I want to say is that we should be, when we are chanting, we should, like, okay, sometimes, I mean, we feel that achievement, so we should be trying into be the mode of receiving rather than achieving actually. That it's not about achieving or winning it over, it's about receiving it actually. And and achieving in sense and receiving in sense that we should be open for the guidance, and the guidance comes in a small hints. We may tap onto it and we can ignore onto it. Lord will constantly will give us some small hints. It's up to us whether we want to take heed onto it. Whenever we are sitting in a lecture, we'll say, oh, this thing is specially spoken to us for us only. So uh, and when these when we are into this I mean the receiving part, we should be uh, what do you say, enduring these ups and downs uh, when we are growing in our chanting actually with this in this new territories. So I just want to sum it up in the 3 points which we can have it as a key takeaways. The one we talked about was the that when we are chanting, there are two energies that we as the energy and the holy name, which itself is energy, they're meeting. It's the magic is happening, and to keep the magic or to keep flowing the rasa with more and more to make spiritual progress, the most important thing is to avoid the three C's. I mean, devotees three C's is like okay, we are that's a very more riskiest thing, but even in general, we should be avoiding in non-devotee things actually to how to uh, so that we are able to make rapid progress. And the third one is that we should get into the receiver mode, not achiever mode actually. Yeah, achievements. Yeah. So with this, I'll stop here. If you have any questions, yeah, I'll take it.
Thank you very much, Varun Rohini. You actually very systematically took us from how the chanting will act upon us, and then how to safeguard the chanting. And then the most important thing which you highlighted was that it is not our mindset should not be that I'll do it, and I can just do it, but rather I'll try my best, but then rest. I'll depend on Krishna's mercy, devotees' mercy, Guru's blessings. So, yeah, that is actually the key to be more dependent on blessings and mercy of Guru and Krishna. Yeah,
Right.
okay. So I like to, the many devotees who have kind of appreciated what you shared. Nagaraj Prabhu also highlighted that how these three C's, criticizing, comparing, and complaining, we should definitely, undoubtedly safeguard ourselves, because this Vaishnava Aparadh actually becomes the bottleneck in our advancement in spiritual life. And we take things so casually, and yeah, and then being envious, comparing things, and complaining about just anything and everything also doesn't help us. So, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I've. I mean, when I was in Silicon Valley, I mean, so there was Vaishishika Prabhu used to mention quite a bit. I mean, I clearly remember that sign a declaration that okay, I'm signing this declaration. I'm trying to get away with these complaining, comparison, and
criticize.
criticizing it, and I'm signing this and putting it that letter. Anyone can go and check it. So that's not, I mean, limited to the four walls of the I mean, the confining to temple. Yeah, so and and he used to focus. I mean, he still focuses actually. Yeah, and he used to focus so much. Yeah, and we used to laugh at that point of time. But now you can see, I mean, how potent and important. Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially from the one. I mean, when we are hearing who has given their life 50, 55 years actually into Krishna consciousness. Yeah, yeah, especially that's reverberated across multiple saints. Yeah.
He is very systematically helping the congregation to develop their Krishna consciousness there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, especially the young kids actually. I mean, I see. I mean, how they were like small kids, now teenagers, when going into the well-known universities, and they're all chanting. and they're doing wonderful things. Yeah, out there.
Just want to check if anyone else has any comment.
Yeah,
or
Hare
wish to-
Krishna, Guru Pranam. Yeah, Varun Prabhuji ko pranam. So yes, repetition is always better. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So I don't think any bhakti viksha which he takes, we miss these three C's. So again today he's stressing on that, and then we should open our mind, and then we should also record somewhere in our mind that just we should avoid these three C's, avoid to let our progress repent. Yes, Japa we are doing as God Prabhu also said. We should do with the intention of getting a mercy of the Lord. We are doing, but yes, if we are again after doing again, we like an elephant when he takes bath and come back and put mud upon him. That we are doing. That is, we are doing japa 2 hours in the morning, rigorous japa, and then in the full day we are doing criticizing, complaining, and comparing. So then again we are putting that same into back square zero. So yes, we should avoid this so that whatever we are gaining is not we are losing. So that is one point which I like to impress. Hare Krishna.
Good.
Thank you, bro.
So Prabhuji is helping a lot of devotees to develop their Krishna consciousness in a very systematic way. And it is good to see how Prabhuji himself is progressing. He's taking baby steps, not only for himself, but for, the entire congregation there at ACS layout, especially the Puri Bhakti Vriksha. And everyone is so much
All your
appreciating
mercy,
these three C's.
Prabhuji. Yeah, these three C's, I mean, are also called cancers. How do you come three C's is like the three cancers. Yeah, and it eats up from inside actually. Yeah, I'm just, I mean, what I've heard, we should, yeah, and trying to, yeah, follow.
I often hear his chanting talks, the Japa talks, which he delivers Vyasasaki there on YouTube also, the congregation there, when he would encourage everyone to speak up and share their own realizations. Here we see daughter of Varun Prabhu also in the video.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Prabhuji. Real pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you
Varun
providing an
Prabhuji ki
opportunity.
jai.
Jai
Great.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी
धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण धन्यवाद प्रणाम
No, no, no,
Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji.
no, no, no.